Our first guest this morning is a gentleman from West Virginia. Sixth-generation coal miner growing up in Cabin Creek, West Virginia, where both of his grandfathers were killed in the mines. After serving in the Vietnam War, he worked for 6 years at Carbon's Fuel No. 31 mine in Winifred, West Virginia, where he served as a local union officer. He became president of the United Mine Workers in 1995 and is now in his fourth full term as international president. He's joined today, by the way, by his assistant, John Linetti. But the most important thing for me with Cecil, his name is Cecil Roberts, by the way, besides the fact that he's a Vietnam vet and one of us, that when we first went to Cecil with regards to the Veterans Health Council, he stepped right up, and the United Mine Workers gave us a $10,000 donation. And not only that, lent his name to discussions with some of his fellow unionists and some of the other unions, which led to probably another $30,000 or $40,000 in donations. So it's my pleasure right now to bring to you Cecil Roberts. Cecil, please.
Welcome home, brothers and sisters. I feel like I am amongst my family. I want to just take a minute and do some thank yous because lots of folks helped get me here today. Of course, I want to thank your wonderful president, John. John came to visit us at our headquarters, explained what you folks were doing, asked for our help, and then he didn't stop there. He said, by the way, since we got you helping us, we want you to go to the other AFL-CIO presidents and ask them to help the Vietnam veterans with what they're doing. We've done that. And then he made an appearance, he never mentioned this, at the AFL-CIO Executive Council meeting where representatives of 11 million people heard him make the presentation on your behalf. So thank you, John, for your leadership. And thank you for your friendship, by the way. I want to thank Vice President Devine, Barry Hagee, your secretary, but most of all, I want to thank his wife, Dee, because she came to the airport to make sure I got here, and without her, I might be at the airport somewhere. I want to thank your treasurer, Larry Frazee, and I want to mention my friend, Carl Tuvin. I want to thank your board of directors. I want to thank all the chapter and state council members, and, of course, the delegates and the members of the Vietnam Veterans of America. And if you don't mind me making a special appreciation and thank you is to the president and delegation from West Virginia, who I saw last night. Stand up, brothers. And they gave me a 196 Light Infantry Brigade Americal Division pin. And thank you, and God bless all of you. I'm like many of you. I found myself in Vietnam. I made my way there in July of 1967 and left in May of 1968. I was with the 196 Americal Division, 4th and 31st. My MOS was 11C40. It's a gunner on an 81 millimeter mortar. And I don't need anybody in the infantry here today. Welcome home to you, brothers. I want to just say that when I got home, I did like many people did. I went to the unemployment office, and I filled out an application for employment. And they asked me, on the form, what'd you do in your last job? And I put on there as 81 millimeter mortar gunner. And I put on there, I had some skills in an M60 machine gun, and very well qualified on M16, and I was an expert on a .45 pistol. I found that my skill set was not in demand. So I took advantage, as many as you did, with the GI Bill, and I went to college for a few years, and then I was married and had some kids, and I ended up working in the coal mines as my father did, my grandfathers did, my great-grandfathers did, and all the way back for about 6 generations. And then I made my way up the ladder in the union. And I have to tell you this story. As when I went to work in the coal mines, there's two age groups, very young and very old. And I was 20-some years old, fresh out of Vietnam, been to college. And quite frankly, they said I was militant, and they said I was radical, because when the boss said, hey, I need you to get under that bad topper and do some work, of course, I knew it might follow me and kill me. Or they said to us, hey, how about working up there where the methane just out of reach and it might blow up the mine? Vietnam veterans and people my age says, I'll tell you what you can do, you can kiss my ass. I'm not doing that. That made me militant. It made me radical. It made me a union official. Now, I do have to, who do I register complaints with here? You, John? You know, as I made my way around last night, I did see many of you, and I came across some people, and how would I want to put this? What state were they in? There's a technical name for this, but called drunk in West Virginia. And they got to talking to me, and they said, boy, where are you from? I said, why do you ask? That accent you've got. And I said, accent? Who knew? I said, what are you talking about? I said, I can't understand a word you're saying. And then they made this reference to the old Green Acres show on TV, and they said, you sound just like Mr. Haney on Green Acres. And so I told them the truth, and the people from West Virginia can vouch for this. I don't have an accent. God talks like me. And someday when you get to the pearly gates and old St. Peter says, y'all get in a pickup truck, we be going to the big house shortly. You'll understand, well, that guy that spoke to us at the convention is telling the truth. And the startled look in some of you's face is the same look that Moses had. You know the story about Moses when he went up to the mountain and God spoke directly to him. And God told Moses, is take off your sandals. You're on holy ground. And the first thing that went through Moses' mind is, God's from West Virginia. Now, saying that's not really gospel, so don't spread that around, okay? We are proud to be here today. And you're going to have speakers come after me, Congressional Medal of Honor winner, and those who run the Fisher House. And all I want to say to the brother who's going to speak to you about that, he's doing God's work. The Bible tells us we judge someday by how we treat the least of these. And God bless you, brother, for the work you're doing. Well, if you turned the TV on today, you heard some news that is very startling. One out of every 5 children in the United States now lives in poverty. 20% of our kids are living in poverty. People can't find jobs. Unemployment went up. Stock market dropped like a rock this morning. Other than that, I've got great news. Now, I want to just share with you some thinking that I have. This debate that went on in Washington here lately, and I'm not talking about Democrats or Republicans. I just want to tell you, I don't think a soul in Washington's got a clue about what's going on and what needs to be done. When they... And let me tell you, when I heard this stuff about everything's on the table, that's a lie. Because the millionaires' money wasn't on the table, the billionaires' money wasn't on the table, the corporations' money wasn't on the table. GE is the largest corporation in the world, paid no tax last year. But somehow my mom, who is 92 years old, by the way, somehow my mother's Social Security got on the table. Somehow her Medicare got on the table. And somehow Medicaid got on the table. Somehow veterans benefits eventually got on the table. I submit to you, we need one thing out of Washington. We need to work. We need jobs, jobs, and more jobs. Now, y'all hang with me because I'm going to treat everybody the same here, but I understand that Senator Coburn had this magnificent idea. That's something you fought for many, many years, and that's victims of Agent Orange to be compensated and have medical care. He thought, well, maybe it's a good idea that we do away with that. Now, I got a question for y'all. I'm going to see how smart you are this morning. I know all Vietnam vets are just brilliant, okay? When old Tom Coburn gets sick, who pays for that? Now, who pays for that? We do. When any of those 100 senators get sick, who pays for that? We do. Now, you know they all have huge staffs, don't they? When they get sick, who pays for that? We do. Now, you know there's hundreds and hundreds of members of the House. When they get sick, who pays for that? You know, when the President of the United States gets sick, who pays for that? Yeah, he's got this huge cabinet, too. When they get sick, who pays for that? When all their staffs get sick, who pays for that? Now you're getting weak on me. Now, y'all supposed to be excited about the fact that these people are getting the same kind of health care across the board that we demand as veterans. We should have at least as good as the president, the Congress, because you served your country. None of those people could have the jobs that they've got without your service. You know what we need in Washington? Yeah, that's a good idea. But what we need is a little common sense. Common sense. Now, I want to tell you what common sense is. Unemployed coal miner, right? He's been caught in a recession. He gets laid off, doesn't have a job. He's got a wife. He's got 3 kids. His wife's trying to figure out how to fix dinner. Got 5 people in the family, right? Got 3 pork chops. How's she going to fix dinner? That wife will cut that pork chop up and make some gravy. That's common sense. We don't have any common sense in Washington. I say, send that wife up to Washington. She's got more sense than any of those people trying to figure out this crisis. Now, they tell me that America is a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. They just never tell me who the people are. Well, now I'm going to tell you who the people are. The farmers that fed the nation, the firefighters that saved the nation, the nurses that healed the nation, the teachers that taught the nation, construction workers that built the nation, coal miners that energize the nation, police officers that protect the nation, bus drivers who move the nation, and veterans who have defended this nation. This land is my land. This land is your land. This land is our land. We need common sense. We've got a plan. Let me see what you think about this plan. Number 1, those who have defended this nation, those who've defended this nation, those who have stood by this nation, those who have risked their lives for this nation, those family members who lost their loved ones defending this nation. We as America have to first stand by our veterans, or we can't stand by anybody. Number 2, the Bible tells us that we're going to be judged someday by how we treat the least of these. It also tells us to honor our mother and our father. We cannot watch 92-year-old people like my mother have her Social Security cut, her Medicare cut, and veterans have their Social Security cut, and say we're honoring our mothers and our fathers. We should stand for the protection of Social Security. We should stand for the protection of Medicare. We should stand for the protection, by the way, of Medicaid. There are thousands of our brothers from Vietnam who are homeless and need this assistance. They need us more now than they did in Vietnam. That's number 2. Number three, there are veterans out there suffering from, are homeless and unemployed. They're underemployed and they're poor. We need to lift them up. They need a job. They need a roof over their head. They need health care. This nation owes this to them. Now, it's relatively simple how we fix all this. We don't need a debate about the debt ceiling. We need a debate about how we get more taxpayers. If you want a better workforce, America, hire a veteran. If you want to grow the middle class, hire a veteran. If you want more health care, hire a veteran. If you want to reduce the deficit, hire a veteran. If you want to save Social Security, hire a veteran. If you want to save Medicare, hire a veteran. If you want to eliminate poverty, hire a veteran. If you want to increase the middle class, hire a veteran. If you want a better America, hire a veteran. Get America back to work. Put our veterans back to work. Our young veterans from the Mideast, our older veterans from Vietnam, put them to work. We need jobs. And then I'd appreciate it very much if they become organized workers, because organized workers make more money. Organized workers have health care. Organized workers have pensions. What we need is a movement amongst the veterans groups and organized labor, organized workers and organized veterans, making a stand for America. And I say to you, that's a powerful, powerful organization that nobody can turn their back on. United we stand, and divided we fall. A wrong to one is a wrong to all. Forward by hope, brothers and sisters, not backward by fear. Thank you, and God bless all of you.
I guarantee nobody's asleep in this room now. Cecil, we'd just like to present this small token of affection for your service to veterans, to miners, to everybody.
Thank you, sir.
To America. Thank you. God bless you.